Hi, I'm Ann Mitchell. I'm a search product manager here at Ancestry.com. You might also know me from the newsletters as Ancestry Ann. What I want to talk to you about today is the 1920 United States Federal Census. I'll show you a few things you might learn on the census and then give you an idea what you might do with that information after you've gathered it. So we're looking here at a 1920 census for the family of John and Al. The first thing you might want to look at on a census record is the street address. If we scroll down here a little bit, we'll see that he lived on Sydney Street. If we go back up, next to the head of household, we'll see that it was 1803. So he lived on 1803 Sydney Street in St. Louis, Missouri. We see that John was the head of the household. He lived with his wife, Louise, his 2 sons, and his 2 daughters. He rented his house. He was 51 years old. You'll notice that he immigrated in 1893, and then he was naturalized in 1897. This gives us an idea of what immigration records to look for. He was born in Germany. He may have immigrated from there. His wife was born in Missouri. His 2 sons were born in New York, and his 2 daughters were born in Missouri. He moved around a lot. Be careful when you look for census records that you map it to the appropriate time and place. If we slide on over here, we notice that he was an agent in an insurance company. His oldest son was a drug inspector for a chemical company, and his youngest son was a bookkeeper in a band. Now that's an interesting job. His oldest daughter was a clerk for the electric company. Now what do we do with this information? This is great stuff, and we're never going to remember it all. I'm sure you, like me, you look at way too many census records to keep track of all of this. So what do we do? I suggest you bring up Notepad. Now when you bring it up, it of course will be empty, but I've already pre-typed all this information in. What I suggest you do is as you're looking at the record, type in everything that you find. You don't have to worry too much about what it looks like or the grammar. You can go back and edit that later. But just keep a place where you can store all that information so you can paste it into your tree. Let me show you how to do that. First, I'm going to press Ctrl A. That selects everything in the Notepad. Then I'll select Edit and Copy. Then I'm going to minimize the Notepad. Now up here is the Save button. And if you've not already saved the record to your tree, you should do that now. I already have, so I'm going to click on John and Al. If I scroll down here, I see the 1920 record in my timeline. But it's just simply a record that's attached to the timeline. I'm going to click on Residence. And then down here in description, I'm going to paste in a few facts from what I gathered from before. If I press Ctrl V, it pastes everything in. Now I'm going to get rid of a few things because this is limited on the number of characters it will allow me to save. I'll press Save Changes. I'll click on Overview. And now my timeline looks a little bit different. Instead of just a record attached, I have a short description of what I found to be interesting in there. You might also add to-dos in there to remind yourselves of things that you want to look for later. If you do this for every record you attach, suddenly you have not just a list of records, but you have a story of what this person's life was like. And that will be more interesting to anyone looking at your tree. Now if you're like me and you get a little worried, you might want to go up here and click on Add a Story. Then you can type in as much information as you gather, and you'll have it in one place where you can save it. You can add all the census records in the story or whatever you want to do. But it's a great place to save the information. I hope this was helpful. Make sure you collect all the information that you find and then find a place to save it. I'll see you in the newsletters. Thanks.